a penny saved is a penny earned, but 91,000 pennies is punitive and pun-worthy. In March, Andreas Flatten from Fayetteville, Georgia, got his final overdue paycheck from a local auto shop in the form of a pile of pennies with a note that read, "Fuck you," perched atop it. When asked to comment on the incident, Flatten commented, "It's apparent the folks at A.O.K. Walker Auto Works felt I didn't have any sense." Well, if you wanted honesty, you've come to the wrong place. This is the quarantined edition of the Disinformed podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm John.
I'm Michael.
I'm Courtney.
I love that Michael's just going to be like yelling at me like he's a cab driver speaking over his shoulder to the back seat.
What was that? Turn here?
So you're from Queens originally, huh? Your mother love you?
Traffic.
So I take the tunnel over here. The George Washington. Who the fuck jumps off the George Washington Bridge? You jump off the Brooklyn Bridge, traditionally.
I still need to rewatch it, but I'm not ready.
It's a beautiful movie is what it is.
It is.
It makes me happy and sad.
It
Like every good
hurt.
Coen Brothers picture.
It brings the hurt and the heel.
That's what they tell me, yes. Well, what are you going to do?
I'm full. I'm lethargic now.
Oh, okay. So the that post-chicken energy is just going to kill everybody.
Yeah, it's the same thing at work. Like we have dope food trucks, and when I do indulge, I indulge quickly and heavily, and then I get back onto the floor, and I feel like I'm about to die for like 2 hours, and then I get a random burst of energy, and then I can't go to sleep until 4 a.m. And I feel like
poor
that's...
Becky.
So what you're saying is we need to make this a 2.5 hour long episode.
Well, how does one approach the sunset of Colonel Sanders?
It is the twilight of our lives. And the boulevard of Borken dreams, or Borken dramas.
Borken drums.
As we have learned from our previous experiences. But I was going to say, on my way over here, I was telling John earlier that I experienced a plethora of images and obscenities on my way, because I chose to take the surface streets as opposed to a freeway. I wanted to enjoy my time, so I cruised up Indian School. And then rode up Hayden, so I had a good old time. But there is such a cavalcade of characters that for the first time in my life, I saw Norm Somerton on a bicycle.
Huh, imagine that, a pig with tits.
I'm not kidding. There was a bald cat who was trying to put a Hawaiian shirt on while he was riding a bike, and he was flopping around at least a C cup.
Was it right outside of my work?
No. What's strange, it was pretty far removed, but it's more my neighborhood. So I just live in a cultural slurry of cliches, apparently.
Yeah.
Because there was just a wealth of people in stretch pants hauling strings of children behind them. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. This is just things I was like, you couldn't have copied and pasted this out of the white person's subjective cookbook over here. I was like, this is what they must look like over here in these poor communities. I was like, oh God, don't. And then here comes Norm Somerton, tattoos on a bald head, and he's got his arm in the air behind him, so he's riding with left hand on the bike, and he's trying to put the shirt on, and he's just flopping him around. And I was like, oh my God, I know where he lives. He's relocated from Canada's to get the poutine down here.
What's funny is that I've tried my level best not to reference the podcasts that I listen to, like, the big popular ones, just so that we could focus on what we do. However, you bringing up Norm Somerton, he goes into a resting period and then he reemerges. So he becomes shameful of his fetish work. And I have no idea why.
So he's a bear.
Sure.
He's got to hibernate.
So he'll get really heavy into it. He'll upload a lot of videos, and then he'll disappear. And like the first time he disappeared, they reached out to his tattoo artist, and they like interviewed his tattoo artist, and that was a really fun interview. And then he just recently reemerged, and he is back at it in ways. He's doing things with bodily fluid that would surprise you.
You know you've done something wrong in life when you have to do a wellness check on a pervert. Like, you've gone pretty far afield. If there are folks who
could have been your grandpa.
That pervert was my grandfather, but he put the cups in different places. But I never had to do a wellness check on him. He was like a bad penny. He just kept showing up.
I heard he was beaten off in public.
I loved that man, in ways that are biblically unacceptable, but were fun at the time. And they don't wither with age. I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry,
I
Stephen.
was like, oh my God, this
If my mother ever hears this, it's like, no, I didn't have incestuous relations with I legitimately, that he and I were very close. So like hearing the parallels of my own life as they will probably eventually manifest, I'm like, yeah, I see how you got there. I shouldn't, but I do.
It's making more and more sense.
Yeah. So that's how you might need to watch me. Don't let me around your loved ones. It's going to be bad news for all involved parties. I try to make a joke about people having tits, and you try to make it real on me over here. So
I didn't make it real.
You brought my grandfather into this, which
That's
was not
real.
It wasn't a podcast topic.
I'm saying
firstly.
that Norm Somerton looks like someone's pervert grandpa. So I wasn't.
Yeah, but you said your, as in your dildo.
We try not
a
like you
dildo.
pointed
You
at
didn't
him.
say he could be a grandpa. You said he could be your
not anyone's
grandpa.
dildo.
My
You implied
apologies.
possession, John. I'm
My
sorry.
apologies.
Yeah.
He could be a perverted grandpa.
He could. And Mrs. Cuckoldon's, finishing school for
talents.
wayward boys is going to be short a headmaster. And by that, I mean he gives a lot of blowjobs.
He really does.
Yeah, it's great. Anywho, I got this off on the great. Sorry, Steven.
Yeah. Hey, last week was a lot of fun.
Shout out Supervan Steven, who had a lot of fun, and he indicated he would be happy to make a return engagement at
we
some
didn't
point.
scare him away.
No, he's
Okay.
ready for more.
That's a compliment.
As most people who spend a night with me in a secluded wing of some random building are ready for more.
Okay.
Primed for a second coming.
Always leave him. There we go.
Like the Christian faith before me, I primed everybody for not just one, but two comings.
I loved how self-conscious John was after recording that. He was like, did I talk about like sex and porn too much? And I was like, John, he like listens to this podcast. Like,
He knows what
if
he
he
signed
made
up
it
for.
this far.
Yeah, he's pretty well aware of what the situation is before he got in.
Well, I just think about when I met Melissa for the first time.
Yeah, that's your own fault, man.
So I really, as usual, I really have no tact. So
Have we ever told that story?
I don't know if
Did
we
that make
have.
it onto
Oh,
air?
I don't.
It's the
I don't think so.
It's the ice cream story.
Oh,
So-
I definitely don't recall.
Yeah,
any
go
of
ahead.
this story.
I'll let you tell it.
Well,
'Cause
Shane and Melissa just made it official. Sounds so lame, but
we'd been seeing each
Facebook
other for a
official,
second.
thank
Yeah.
you.
it was time that, in Shane's words, she was real.
I'd made her a human, yes.
Yes.
Ah,
So we were doing a gig up north, and we were all convening at Sam's house as we usually do, just to caravan up. And when we all got into the car to break the ice, I started talking about Shane and I's favorite subject. I was like, "Hey Shane, have you seen this Madison Ivy does anal video?" And I just started going really buck wild on the story. And Shane, from the time it took from us to leave Sam's house to get to the highway, which is about like less than 3 minutes, is how long this went on. And Shane, in so many words, was like, "Hey John, what you need to understand is that some people aren't sick, and and some people don't physically care for or want to hear about porn ever." And I was like, well, what if instead of calling it porn, we just called it ice cream? So
Oh no.
there's this ice cream model,
Mhm.
and she was doing
Yeah.
things to the ice cream. And
Yeah, he wasn't going to let the bit die. He wanted to, and I flat out just said, yeah, Melissa hates pornography and is just patently against it and disgusted by it. And this is either pre or post me saying like I was making a concerted effort to not watch pornography or engage so that, you know,
Yes.
she and I can just get back to being normal human beings and hardwire in the other direction. And John's just like, yeah, so anyway, she's taking this ice cream up her ass. It's like, okay,
Frosty.
this is the hill we're going to die on,
until this-
apparently. So
yeah.
I was like, way to make a good impression there, John.
even to this day, and I love Melissa, and
And
she's
she
always
hears all
super
of these,
nice
so.
to me. In the back of my head, I'm always suspicious that she's just secretly like, this sick, twisted squarely Irish motherfucker.
I think you and I have that exact same sort of relationship where I feel the same way every time I talk to Becky. I feel like she's looking at me out of the corner of her eye. I was just like, when is this fat bald fuck just gonna get the hell away from my husband and let me have a normal relationship? Because this whole Jay and Silent Bob shit's starting to get really old, and I'm just sick.
Let's go into the narcissist corner real quick. Do you think that they have a group chat?
No.
Or
Because
they're just like,
if they don't like us, they damn sure don't like each other.
the enemy of my enemy.
Yeah, you'd think, but no. No, I really do. I envision Becky like giving you the Holden McNeil speech from the beginning of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where she's sitting there, it's like, I just can't wait for the day where you finally come home. It's like, when, Lord, when am I ever going to get to have sex with my wife again? If I just let this simple son of a bitch leave me alone for 5 seconds, so I might actually be able to be intimate with a woman again.
Would it make you feel better to know that we approach you the same way Jonah and Courtney do?
If he's not talking about his dick, he's okay.
We put your voice on in the bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
All right. As long as I'm saying tubes of you, she loves me. But I mean, there's a lot of time in between that where she does not seem
and
like
I
she
love
does.
her tubes. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's strange.
Wait, nothing? Michael tells 20 jokes that are awful, and I tell one.
Do you want pity laughter too?
Can I get the track?
I mean, technically, I also have headphones on both here, so I should probably just slide
That's
one
fair.
off so I can actually hear
for
what
the
you're
record,
saying.
Becky loves you.
What record are we on? Is there a stenographer present? Because
Yes.
okay, all right. Well, if it makes you feel better, Melissa loves you.
This is gross.
Yeah, this is very gross.
Unabashedly so.
Does she dislike anyone?
No, I don't think she. Well, there are some people that annoy Melissa, but it's not like
Who?
See,
Because she's
I mean, I
such a
can't-
kind-hearted
they're not.
spirit.
They're not people that you would know. Like they're not in our circle.
Oh, so
you
wouldn't
really
mind-
have to work hard to get Melissa pissed off. But when you do,
Is she adorable when she's mad?
yes,
It's like a
Which
little angry
makes it-
Pikachu.
I wouldn't say it is that. Like she and I, funnily enough, we're gonna do just. It's not like I don't have an hour and a half's worth of material to get into, but
Because he does.
yeah, we had a like really screaming argument with each other on like our third date, and we
Wow.
were not going to see each other anymore. So
What was the argument?
We are both really stubborn. I was impugning the Mormon Church, and I was sitting here going like all of these imbecilic individuals who need a handheld of like, I'm so scared of the dark that I need to, some purportedly magical Jew to save me. And she's like, I haven't wholly decided I'm not a Christian anymore, and I might still want to go back to church. I was like, well, you're a fucking imbecile then. And she and I just started
This is
whipping
third
back and
date?
forth.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
we got real heavy, and she and I left on kind of like coarse terms, and we're not really. And like a couple days went by where we didn't talk, and then we agreed that we were just going to meet up and start over. I was like, let's just have like lunch and a conversation. Obviously, this is not a good topic for us to discuss right now. So I still really like you and enjoy talking to you. So let's see whether or not if you're interested, I'm interested. And we went and had coffee in this really great, or actually we went to a diner in Old Town Glendale, which is right across from the Velma Teague Library. And we just sat and had a conversation and had a really great time, had a wonderful afternoon, went and had coffee at the coffee shop around the way I used to do shows at, Mama Java. And it was a grand time, and we created a relationship right afterwards. But yeah, we had a real wobbly bit right there, right up front. So yeah, she and I
Yeah.
are both particularly stubborn when we want to be.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, it's a good time.
That is a good time.
So yeah, she does get angry when she wants to.
Okay.
And it can be very aggressive.
So not an angry Pikachu.
No. She's, like Chartar or something.
I don't think you're supposed to say that anymore.
I'm just grabbing at words right now. I'm just throwing together random like onomatopoeia to see if I can make a character.
It's actually funny how close you were to an actual Pokemon. Like,
Okay,
you
Choctaw.
said-
I mean, if,
Yeah.
if he
it
would
was
have paid
Charizard, but
if he
Pretty
would have paid
close.
any attention to Twitch Plays Pokemon, then he would know at least two.
Oh, I
No,
paid
I-
attention. I was like simmering with rage the entire time. So I was listening to what he was saying. They just weren't English words, and they weren't even Japanese words. It was
no, they were not.
Yeah, some jackass who dropped a bad tab and decided to just start rambling and foaming at the mouth, and it wasn't.
Hey!
This goddamn chair is busted.
Left me parked in the middle of the fucking parking lot. This is bullshit.
Well, get out of this piece of shit town. Well, for those of you who are uninitiated, we occasionally dive into random esoteric topics here on this glorious little show, and then, in the midst of explaining it to one another, we will lie occasionally just to make things interesting, and that is our premise, and it is fantastically entertaining. And quite frankly, it is the only thing that is keeping us from being permanently labeled like the Dr. Thunder of Last Pod on the left.
I'm not entirely sure I understand the reference.
I don't get that
How?
reference either.
It's Mr. Pibb for like Sam's Club is Dr. Thunder.
Oh, okay, got it.
Dr.
So it's
Pepper
not
for
even
poor
like
people.
second tier Dr. Pepper, it's like fourth tier
This
Dr.
is like
Pepper.
below RC Cola.
Basically, yeah.
Ooh.
That's we're
Ooh.
that close to Last Pod. But pre-Courtney have like the three personalities on that podcast are very much personalities on our podcast. They're just presented in a different manner. If Michael was halfway articulate, we would be exact like copy and paste of that fucking show.
Yeah.
It's terrifying, actually.
Sometimes.
All you need to do is be interested in we're interchangeable for
Yeah.
like we're kind of like paper dolls of the other two hosts, and we just flip flop depending on
Are
the
you
day.
saying that Michael would be a Mr. Parks if he could talk?
Yeah, if he could speak,
Which is
like
a very high compliment.
he actually came up with the concept. He was the researcher initially, and then we learned. But I mean, we had the jazz band aspect initially up front, and then you've got the whole Church of Satan tie that got really strong-winded and ran that direction. I got the wrestling thing. But I do voices.
I mean,
and
they are chasing after our success.
they
Should
have
I
been
leave?
coveting us.
You're the anchor.
You are the articulate one.
Hey, listen, we have done a 3 living room tour as the host of this podcast,
Yeah.
and we sold out every time.
Yeah.
So we've got a really great track
Standing
record.
room only.
Yeah. I mean, we're still sitting, but I mean,
Oh man.
you couldn't get anybody else in the room if you tried.
Well, we do have Courtney's husband just laying on the couch downstairs right now in silence.
Yeah. It's appropriate.
Do
He
you
was
not
like, I
leave?
need to take a nap. And I was like, that's why we brought 2 cars. Like, go home, take a nap. I
No.
might lay on their couch. That's fine too. You're allergic to dogs. That's a bold choice.
That is a bold choice.
It's a comfy couch. I can
I'm
understand
gonna
the
text Becky and be
conflict.
like, "There's gonna be a sleeping man on the couch. Tell the hobo to go home when you are ready."
If you find him in the downstairs bathroom aggressively stroking his face and just hard staring himself, we might need to have an investigation, get a priest over here to anoint him with oils and speak the words over his body.
Is this real enough for you, Jonah?
Oh no.
I'm not real.
He's doing like the rubber face thing and just rubbing it around, molding himself into something different.
Oh.
Well, we actually did partake of a fried chicken meal before we recorded this thing, as we somewhat alluded to earlier, and it was delectable. So thank you, Courtney.
Fantastic.
Furthermore, Melissa, after having listened to 2 episodes, finally discovered that she can have KFC.
Oh man.
The extra crispy does not use buttermilk. It veers away from the original recipe, which is something we will be discussing in today's episode. So we went and snagged Kentucky Fried Chicken last week. And man, this was a crucible. We put the order in advance so that we could just drive up and snag it. They had closed their seating area, so you had to go through the drive-thru. As I was pulling to the drive-thru, a woman in a Chevy Malibu that was in park immediately threw it in a drive and cut me off, like rolled
Strong.
6 inches forward and made sure she got there. And she had a small dachshund in the back seat that was just bouncing back and forth from one window to the next. And I called him Mr. Weenie Wag and proceeded to have a dialectic in her toothless voice where she's like, Mr. Weenie Wag wants his chickens. You better give it to me right now.
People burn when I don't get my chicken.
Exactly. And she was like gesticulating at the window when they'd walked away from her. So like she took 20 minutes to get her food out. I'm not kidding. We were sitting there for longer than it probably took them to kill the chickens, sacrifice them to Satan, and then serve them. And she was just sitting there just doing this, like proselytizing to the air. She had the spirits going all through her. Mr. Weenie Waggle was just bouncing around the car like she'd set him on fire.
God.
And Melissa just goes, she's like, we're never doing this again. Like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, this KFC was a bad idea. But we went home. We had us some fried chicken. And their quality control has dropped pretty significantly. But
Courtney's is better, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, no question. So you have made chicken that would make the Colonel happy, as evidenced by what we are going to discuss today. So I'm going to take us into the final, the ultimate installment of the life and crimes of Colonel Sanders.
Our longest running subject.
Indeed. Mostly because Michael's a quitter.
Yes. True that.
A spitter and a quitter.
A liar and a frog.
Indeed. A hack and a frog. I will have you know. But for part 4, we start with the booze battles.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's going to get real grown up in here,
This has
children.
gotten too personal.
A pathway in Louisville's historic Cave Hill Cemetery leads straight to the man who changed the world of fried chicken forever. Below the bust designed by his daughter is Harland Sanders, more affectionately known to billions across the globe, especially Japan, as Colonel Sanders. His contribution to the world is simply stated on his grave: the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken Empire.
Hey, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How many lies?
I'm getting there.
What?
He's doing the intro.
No.
The lead-in.
All right, there's 7 lies.
What if he's lying in the intro?
Oh.
Trying to give a little preamble here, for
No.
God's sakes. Let me set the mood for you. I realize you've just had someone who just barrels into you without preamble for the past several years. It's called
Exactly.
marriage, but Jesus, let me get the foreplay out of the way.
What's a foreplay?
Yeah, what is this?
It
be
is.
nice.
It's
You
an
mean-
8-track tape that you cut in half.
Is this a lie?
You mean the text message that I send that says, "You up?"
Because I am.
WYD ? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? I don't know. What would Jesus do? All
Run
right.
for president?
And lose.
Uh,
That's sad when, the crackpot with the worst hairdo in human history wins, and you married a Kardashian and you can't even get on the fucking ballot.
And then the Kardashian left you.
Indeed. Sad. And
That's
one of
sad.
them's Chewbacca. Anywho. Over the last several years, fervor has erupted over Sanders' television reemergence with a broad array of actors cast to play the company's iconic founder, including Mr. Mario Lopez, as you have seen from our Instagram this last week, which was delicious.
I didn't know if that was
So-
a Photoshop job or not.
It's a real movie.
That's a real
Lifetime
thing.
Put out.
Are you fucking
They sure,
kidding
yep.
me?
Oh, it's going to get weirder, my friend. You better buckle up, because
Oh
this
my
is,
God.
we're about to go crazy down the rabbit hole.
Are you joking my ass?
Are you funning me, son? Lost in the hubbub, though, was the fact that the contemporary offerings of KFC caused its founder a considerable degree of disgust and consternation. Our beloved fried chicken magnate, who seemed in public to be as jolly and serene as Santa Claus, was actually one of the world's foremost worriers. The Colonel maintained a vigilant fretfulness in the face of what had evolved into his overwhelming good fortune. And as we've seen, up until this point, he has been brutally fucked by fate for almost the entirety of his life. Things are finally starting to get good, and he's like, when's the other shoe gonna drop, motherfucker? I'm ready. I got a knife, and I'm prepared to do goddamn battle with you sons of bitches.
And then he walks into a room and there's a big black leather couch. And he sits down on it and the interviewer asks, "How old are you?" "I'm about 70 years old." "And where do you go to school?"
And
if
that
you know, you know.
is when the cannibalism started. We've done it 7 times, and we're increasingly efficient at it.
I'm in danger.
So, the Colonel maintained a vigilant fretfulness in the face of what had evolved into his overwhelming good fortune. He had finally won money, fame, and the affection of his fellow citizens after years of slipping on the arrayed banana peels that fate had laid in his path. Now approaching the tender age of 80, he had lived to see the company he founded, the Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation, grow from a one-man operation to one of the giants of the American food industry. A vast network of Kentucky Fried Chicken take-home food outlets covered every part of the nation but New York City, where the KFC franchising effort had just begun. In 1970, these outlets sold more than $500 million worth of fried chicken. I'm going to take that out of the running. That is not a lie. That is no bullshit. $500 million in 70.
Jesus.
Did they say why they didn't have any in New York?
They had just started the franchising
Oh,
efforts.
okay.
That's just really it. But so more prepared food in dollar volume than was sold by any other company on the planet.
Whew.
Yes. The company made millionaires of Sanders and more than 100 other franchisees, many considered to be close friends of the Colonel's. You'd have to be at that point. Harland's success had been artistic, not autistic.
Right.
As
Not Michael.
Indeed. As well
Really?
as financial, as his secret recipe and his fast frying process produce fried chicken of a quality hitherto unknown, regardless of your restaurant of choice. And yet, despite all these developments, the Colonel could not rest easy. Oh no. In the early 1970s, he was informed that Kentucky Fried Chicken and its 3,500 franchises had been acquired by Hubline Incorporated, a company best known for distributing Smirnoff vodka.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Not bullshit.
Really?
As someone who spent his entire life rallying against liquor, finger liquors notwithstanding, this was an insufferable affront. Once the $285 million buyout was complete, the company was flush with new millionaires, but Colonel Sanders was not amongst them. As you will remember from our last episode, he was not allowed to purchase stock. So a perfectionist in an imperfect world, the Colonel continued to dream of fried chicken so golden and delicious that it will bring tears to the eyes of a grown man, and of crackling gravy so sublime that, he says, it'll make you throw away the darn chicken and just guzzle the goddamn gravy.
Hot.
He did not say guzzle the goddamn gravy.
He did not say guzzle the goddamn. He said just eat the gravy. But
He runs a clean show.
I was getting too
Indeed.
excited for that.
during most of his waking hours, the Colonel had been haunted by the fear that someone, somewhere, would do something to hurt his chicken. Some upstart in the company may tamper with the recipe, or a careless franchisee may be undercooking or overcooking the product. And here came the barbarian hordes of distillation distributors to do just that. The Colonel was vexed almost beyond endurance by the subject of his famous gravy. The gravy served by KFC franchises in the 70s was good, but it was most certainly not the Colonel's. When the great insatiable corporate belly began to grumble, company cooks and chemists were allegedly directed to seek out ways to reduce the expenses associated with the secret recipe spice spectrum. Fewer and cheaper ingredients would accumulate into millions of dollars in savings. And so, cooking the cracklin' gravy he was so famed for was particularly demanding. And so, a powdered alternative was introduced. Despite his role as the so-called quality controller, Colonel Sanders was not kept abreast of these changes, pun not intended, but he did receive letters from fans asking him why he kept changing the recipes.
Is that bullshit?
No.
Huh.
Let's face it, the Colonel's gravy was fantastic, but you had to be a Rhodes Scholar to cook it, a company executive explained. It involved too much time, it left too much room for human error, and it was just too expensive. This attitude was incomprehensible to the Colonel, who believed making money is a reward for the virtuous, not a matter of fucking cost accounting.
How hard is it to make gravy, Courtney?
It's super easy. But what they've done with powdered gravies is essentially you can just mix it into water because it has all the starches in it needs to thicken. Whereas if you make a gravy from scratch, you're usually going to take like flour and butter and cook those down. And then you're going to add, depending on what kind of gravy you're making, a stock or milk to make like a bechamel.
Mm-hmm.
And so that process can get really lumpy if you don't do it right. It does take some know-how. And so switching to the packet, everything's going to be the same across the board.
Yeah, have you ever attempted to make a roux?
She dies, motherfucker.
I rue
Good
that.
reference.
I rue that joke. In any event,
Is the Rhodes Scholar statement bullshit?
no, it is not.
Huh.
These are some interesting folks we're about to encounter, friends, so get ready. But besides, he would rather have memorable gravy than extra profits.
It's my life motto, actually.
Memorable gravy.
It's my family motto.
Well, just wait. If you were a franchisee turning out perfect gravy but making very little money for the company, another KFC executive who sounded exactly like the other one remarked,
Sergeant Hatred, yeah.
and I was a franchisee making lots of money for the company but serving gravy that was merely excellent, giving yourself plenty of credit, the Colonel would think that you were great and I was a bum. With the Colonel, it isn't money that counts, it's artistic talent. As Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises popped up around the world, 86-year-old Colonel Sanders crisscrossed the globe to attend grand openings and other special events. You can just touch my leg, Michael.
This
You're
man
fine.
is
Just
living my
get-
dream. He's just driving across the country
Ooh.
eating fried chicken.
Well, now he's probably flying.
I'm mildly aroused. Yeah, he's just... Michael
Sorry,
was...
there were
There's a
two
lot of
separate
things
conversations going on
Yeah,
here.
Michael was fondling me for a moment. That's it's bound to happen.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm needy.
Now
You're-
I got
you're-
the Charlie horse. This is going to be terrible.
Wait, like actually?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I know how to deal with Charlie horses.
Oh. You
Oh,
better
you
keep
really
all
doing
of this
this on
in.
air?
It's beautiful.
Touching each other.
Mm.
Yeah, he's
I'm almost done. Keep squeezing.
Should we go get
Thank
Loki
you.
so he can breathe on your upper thigh again?
No, I'm going to need it right on the balls this time.
Okay, I can't help with Charlie horses of that nature.
Get in that good gravy.
This was a horrible idea.
I love you and everything, but if you try and fuck my dog, I'm calling the cops.
With that attitude.
Listen, don't
Is
talk
Michael
about
your
Becky
dog?
like that. It's just because she's not in the house.
If the dog gives consent.
It's not appropriate at all. Okay.
Oh yes, bark twice.
Oh no!
Yeah, your bedroom forays start to make a lot more sense to me.
Hold on.
Becky, get the leash.
I haven't been able to get this out of my head since Becky told it to me. But we took our dogs to the vet for like an annual. You know, you just get them checked to make sure everything's going good and whatever.
Make sure
And you
they're
gave
still
him a
dogs.
rectal exam?
I was like,
No.
they pronounce it anal.
So they were looking at my pug Albus, and he's back in a healthy weight range. That's great. The only thing that they said that needed done with Albus is that he'll need his teeth cleaned, and they told Becky that like they don't judge us for not cleaning Albus's teeth because it's gonna be a little bit of a process because he has no handholds to be able to keep his mouth open because he's flat faced. So just the verbiage of there's no handholds to get into his mouth.
Sure.
She was telling me about that the other night. We were both grabbing at his feet.
Yeah. Anyway, not a particularly good bit, but
So cute.
Do we still warrant a small bow, or?
no.
All right, well, neither do you. So Sanders was crisscrossing the globe to attend grand openings and other special events, determined to ensure that the product, proudly boasting his visage, lived up to his expectations. Sanders developed a fondness for paying surprise quality control visits to franchises as he passed through cities. If he found the chicken to be lackluster, the gravy substandard, or the cleanliness of the facility short of impeccable, an earful of criticism awaited the local management, as you would expect. On one occasion, in 1976, at a franchise in Bowling Green, Kentucky, staff stood anxiously awaiting the Colonel's assessment as he sampled the day's gravy. "How do you serve this goddamn slop?" he demanded, "with a straw?" A reporter for the Courier Journal later quoted him as saying, "My God, that gravy is horrible. They buy tap water for 15 to 20 cents 1,000 gallons, and then they mix it with flour and starch and end up with pure wallpaper paste. And I know wallpaper paste, by God, because I've seen my mother make it. There's no nutrition in it, and they ought not to be allowed to sell it."
The wallpaper paste is bullshit.
No, it is not.
And he actually said goddamn.
He sure did. He fucking cusses like more than I do, John.
I know.
I slide by a couple quotes on you last week, and now you think the only lies in the episode will just be his quotes. I see. You've hoved in on the wrong source, my friend.
I am a detective.
Dorky Miss Schmidt over here. All right. This insult was, of course, more than the Bowling Green franchisee was prepared to bear, and they filed a defamation suit against the man whose face graced the front of their store. The court eventually threw out the case, ruling that Colonel was clearly discussing Kentucky Fried Chicken in general, rather than their restaurant in particular. It would not, however, be the last bit of litigation Sanders would be involved in. Go figure. In the meantime, Hubline was growing concerned about a new crispy offering from competing Church's Chicken. Executives decided to roll out extra crispy chicken with more breading and fewer spices, renaming the Colonel's recipe to Original Recipe. As we've learned earlier, they took the buttermilk out of it, and hence why my girlfriend can eat it. So, unabashed Sanders described the new offering as a damn fried dough ball spot welded on some chicken, and refused to have his name and likeness associated with it. His preferences, however, didn't hold much sway with the new owners of his name and likeness, and they went ahead and slapped his face on boxes of Colonel Sanders' Extra Crispy Chicken. This was, of course, an affront that Sanders could not stand. In an effort to restore his reputation as a cook, Harland and Claudia, Mistress, opened the Colonel's Lady, a new restaurant that occupied the space in Louisville that was vacated when their headquarters was moved to Tennessee.
Is this for real?
This is for real.
Huh.
Fried chicken was also on the menu, amongst other things, but it was unclear whether it was secret recipe chicken. To advertise the restaurant, of course, Harland returned to his tried-and-true method of painting signs.
Oh.
His first sign read in a large and grandiose red lettering, "Make tonight Mother's Day at the Colonel's Lady." In a smaller, subtle text beneath it, "Keep your crispy in the bucket it belongs in, the trash can."
Bullshit.
No,
The whole-
I can see him. I can see him doing that.
The whole phrase. No, yeah, the whole phrase is bullshit.
What phrase?
The lettering.
You're on to something. He's being
If
cagey.
he had to be,
Yeah.
if I had to be specific, the talking about crispy in the trash can.
Yeah.
Okay, that is bullshit.
Oh,
Thank you.
But
Like, you're the only host that makes it like you.
yeah,
There's like if you don't,
you
if
gotta
you don't
work
give
for it,
me a precise
motherfucker. Yeah.
quotation, then you're not getting the
exactly. Because
And I need the points.
I also didn't say that was the only lie that we're looping around here, friends. So you
oh
remember.
shit!
Your kids
more
think
than
that I
one.
only put like one in a paragraph.
I don't
so.
think that he painted signs.
Well. Yes, this whole paragraph is a fucking lie here, so you all can just get
Aw,
yourselves
damn
back
it.
in here. But the Make Tonight Mother's Day was actually a KFC advertisement that they ran for a significant amount of time. So, naturally, this was not well received by Hubline, who immediately filed more litigation against Sanders, but this motion too was dismissed by the courts as crispy chicken was being sold by numerous chains at this point, including KFC and the originator of crispy, Church's. Sanders, being a former litigator, seemed just sly enough to continue to avoid any significant entanglements with the big business barristers. So the Colonel, it should be noted for context, as it will be brought to bear in the rest of our discussion here, does not play cards, smoke, or drink, except for an infrequent glass of wine with dinner, in adherence to the way his sainted mother raised him.
Oh, mama.
Now, signage was not only important to luring customers to the restaurant, but in enforcing policy inside the business as well. In the restaurant, Harland extended the teachings of his beloved mother to the masses. A little sign at the front entryway read, "People that like us will not smoke in our establishment. People that will smoke in our establishment, we do not like." As evidence of his distaste for tobacco users, Sanders offered this tasty tidbit. "I used to cuss the prettiest you ever heard," the Colonel said in an interview with The New Yorker in 1970. "I'd take the name of the Lord in vain, too, though I always apologized right then in my mind." But apologizing wasn't good enough. The thing shouldn't have been said in the first place. I did my cussing before women than anybody else, but somehow nobody ever took any offense. Only one man ever called my hand on it. That was at Richmond, Virginia, a fella from Norfolk. I'd been talking in my full vocabulary, I guess, unconsciously, don't you see, because it just come natural. And this fella, he said, Colonel, I want to say something to you. Nobody can appreciate all that cussing you do. And I said, I know that, and I'd give anything in a God Almighty's world if I could quit. I've tried to quit, and I couldn't. But I further asserted, I'll tell you one thing, though. My cussing don't hurt nobody but me. But that goddamn cigarette smoke of yours is fouling up the air for 10 feet around, and I haven't had a decent goddamn breath since you sat down here. Sanders, we know, was never one to mince words.
Wow.
So, having not been stymied by their previous failures in litigation, according to Sanders' daughter Margaret, so take this with a grain of fucking salt, or a shot of penicillin, depending on your preference.
Damn.
Potato.
Hugh Blind claimed that they owned Sanders' face, the name Colonel, and his food creations wholesale, and began further legal proceedings to shutter the fledgling business that Harland had opened with Claudia. Sanders doubled down, which is funny because that's a famous sandwich, countersuing the booze hounds for using his likeness to promote products he didn't goddamn develop. And their frivolous litigation prior, as well as for interfering with his new business. I am not too proud of my name being associated with some of these restaurants, he was quoted as saying in the Milwaukee Journal. Everybody thinks I'm Kentucky Fried Chicken. They don't know these other fellows who really run things. I only want to find out how much of my body and soul they own. So Sanders and Hugh Blind eventually settled out of court. Hugh Blind paid Sanders $1 million, also agreeing to stop interfering with his new endeavor. Sanders agreed to change his restaurant's name to Claudia Sanders Dinner House. That restaurant is still in operation today, to answer your question, that
Road
this is
trip.
a real thing.
I was going to say, that warrants a visit for sure.
It sure is. So, though the Colonel is sometimes cantankerous in private, he is a smooth, charming pro in public. Outgoing, warm, funny, never at a loss for words, and patient with the demands of fans. Outside of the New York area, he was probably as well known as any man in the country. Everywhere he went, he attracted crowds of housewives, grateful for all the nights in the kitchen that KFC spared them. This is from the 1970s New Yorker article, so you will have to indulge this. The Colonel stood by the hour with these women, signing autographs and posing for photographs. He knocked them dead with his flattery, but if you got close enough to him in a crowd, you could detect him muttering a running commentary to himself. That gal's let herself go. Look at the size of that one. I don't know if I've seen this many hogs with neither slop nor trough in sight. Lord, look at 'em waddle. During these sidewalk photo sessions, Ms. Sanders, who bore the affairs more easily than the Colonel, sometimes stage whispered in his ear, "After this bunch goes, let's beat it." When the Colonel is with small children, however,
Oh no.
Satan be praised, it is his turn to be charmed. "What chance has a grandpa got with a sweet little thing like that?" he'll say quite sincerely. "Aren't kids the finest folk in the world?" As further evidence of his famed bedside manner, sorry that followed a talk of children, but the Colonel is notably, as the Tom Waits song of the same name claims, big in Japan. Japan of the 1970s was evidently a land untouched by turkeys. As a consequence, when the Western expatriates sought out holiday poultry, chicken was the nearest available analog. So when the marketing department of KFC discovered this, they launched a Kentucky for Christmas advertising campaign in Japan, suggesting that the viewers visit one of their local KFC locations on December 25th, an otherwise unremarkable day in the 99% non-Christian nation. The delightfully alliterative invitation was surprisingly persuasive to the Japanese and expatriates alike, and the Kentucky for Christmas tradition persists to this day.
I've been curious about this since, episode 1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Around the holidays, scores of people in Japan spend hours waiting in chicken lines, and Colonel Sanders acts as a stand-in for Santa Claus.
That's not bullshit at all?
You can pre-order it like 3 weeks out. So like that's the whole thing is like you want to get your chicken order before everybody else does.
It's almost like Asher and Thanksgiving, because what Asher does every Thanksgiving here in the Valley, so in Phoenix, is he's a vegetarian and has been ever since I've known him, and his mom is as well. And Green is his favorite restaurant. It's an all-American vegetarian restaurant,
Good
and
stuff.
they do, fake turkey and the whole they do a whole Thanksgiving spread,
Right.
and you pre-order it almost that length out, and every year he's like, you should come do it, it's a lot of fun. He's made like lifelong friends standing in those lines. So I guess I can believe it, but it's something that's hard to wrap your head around if you've never never heard of it.
You've
really
never
until-
experienced it.
Take into account, this is one of those culture clash moments here where you kind of think about this. Steakhouses in Japan are also like very difficult to track down because they don't exactly have grazing room on that country. Like, they're action-packed with people. There's not a lot of places where you can raise livestock or poultry or anything like this, so you cannot get good beef over there. It's not a thing.
Is that true?
So-
No,
Oh, your eyes went really big.
they're world renowned for their beef.
Well, I mean,
Their Wagyu beef, they're world renowned.
Yeah, but
for
where
it.
do you get
Kobe,
it?
but
Everywhere,
it's-
everywhere sells it. We had it on the streets. We had it
Really?
in restaurants. You can get it anywhere.
But is it imported, or do they
No,
raise it?
They raise it there.
Where?
They
Well-
have farms.
well, maybe-
It's expensive. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I was
but it
gonna
is
say-
the highest quality beef you can
because
get.
they don't export.
No, they do in very small batches, and it's very.
Well,
So
yeah,
maybe-
I'm sorry, they export to what, Singapore and like
no,
what
you
other...
can get it in the U.S.
So
Kobe beef?
Yeah.
So I'm not an
When?
intellectual here.
Hmm.
So I'm
Sorry.
going to be a mediator. So what I think happens is they do have we all agree that beef is a good idea.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
So what I think happens is they have to choose. Right?
I think
It's like,
what
do they raise?
I'm basing this off of discussion from people who spent time in the 80s over there, specifically talking about a very different brand of like particular steak houses, and
Okay.
said that it was difficult to find anything over there that was livestock related. But this is also 20 years prior to likely when our friend here was visiting.
So they don't have traditional American steakhouses,
Right.
Like what we would say is a steakhouse. That's
No peanuts
totally
on the floor?
No, we don't have those here either because those kill people. But there's actually a lot of people, when they think of Japan, they think of the big cities. So there's actually lots of rural land out there. So they do actually have quite a bit of farmland. And so they grow very specialty beef. Some of their fruits and vegetables, because it's so hard to grow them, are very expensive. So you're not seeing it in the mass quantity because they don't have factory farms like we do. They grow everything very small batch, and it's all delicious.
It's making more sense. I think I was on the right track. 'Cause I was going to say you choose what you prioritize.
Right.
But the thing
poultry not being there makes, or if there's a lack of poultry, that would make sense if they're allocating more of their time and energy.
Probably also
into the
not a
beef.
naturally occurring
Right.
creature over there.
On an island?
Yeah,
This has
go
been,
figure.
Huh. But one thing that I knew about Kobe beef was that it was only recently started to be exported, and it was only exported to other cities in the, I guess, the Pacific sort of ring. And unless I'm completely wrong about that.
I feel like I
But-
definitely ate it in New York in 2013, but I will fact check myself on that.
Okay.
That was sold by Kobe Bryant. It's different.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing, was that like they only recently, within the last decade, started exporting to places like Singapore.
But what does this have to do about
Well,
fried
because
chicken
the whole-
fingers?
we
well,
seem to
sorry.
have gotten off track.
As a slight aside, what I know about Kobe beef is that it is the beef, the cows are very well tended. They are actually fed sake,
Mm-hmm.
and they are actually really well tended to, where they are supposed to be bred without any sort of stress, so that the beef doesn't have any. That's the whole idea. They're pretty much kept liquored up the whole time. And the idea is that their beef doesn't get any sort of, because they're not tense at all throughout their whole life, their beef is supposed to be very succulent.
So if you let veal grow up, it's Kobe beef.
That's the idea.
So this is how we're going to serve Sam when she dies.
I
No,
feel like
you
she's
can't
had
serve
a lot of
You
tension.
could taste the fear in that meat.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
I'm sure Tony has. Okay, well, back on track. Back into fear. As each location, well, here we are. In 1970s, Sanders went to Japan several times to pay promotional visits to hundreds of KFC franchises. At each location, he encountered a life-sized molded plastic Colonel Sanders doppelganger, its hands outstretched in a welcoming pose. One of these statues was famously flung into the Dontombori River by riotous celebrators when the Hanshin Tigers baseball team won the Japan Championship Series in 1985. The team's performance declined sharply in subsequent years, an effect which local legend attributes to the curse of the Colonel, a supernatural punishment for defiling the Colonel's graven image.
I thought the curse of the Colonel is when you eat 3 famous fulls in one sitting.
Oh my god.
Oh, I thought it was what people got when they slept with Claudia after she'd been away for a couple days.
The
but
curse of the Colonel.
it's called chlamydia, children.
Extra crispy.
It burns going in and coming out, unfortunately.
Oh, God.
It was believed that the team was doomed to lose every Japan League championship until the Colonel was recovered from the river and restored to its rightful place. I'm not sure if history has ever willed that out, because I didn't care enough to look it up. But
just because I need to do it. Is the curse of the Colonel bullshit?
No, it is not.
Oh my God. If I didn't ask, I would have been thinking about it.
They are a cowardly and superstitious lot over there, my friend. We did bomb them back to smithereens.
Jesus Christ.
He's been waiting to like pepper that in since he started.
Hey, Duan told me I have a blank check here, so I'm
That's true. Once
just going
you
to
get-
barrel
Also,
through this.
You
make
get
sure you
that
check
check-
out Country Brothers every Monday on
Indeed.
your preferred platform.
Yeah, John.
Yes, me.
What I'm saying is that the Colonel's food goes through you like fear through the Japanese army. That's all I'm driving at. Anywho.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry, God. Sorry, Michael.
These are the jokes, kids.
Oh,
Come
that
on.
was good. That was good.
In April of his 89th year on God's green earth, Colonel Sanders was dispatched to Japan for yet another promotional tour. He's very popular over yonder. He made personal appearances in hundreds of stores and posed for photographs with thousands of individual fans. He felt unusually exhausted upon his return home. As weeks passed, the exhaustion did not diminish, and several weeks later he was diagnosed with acute leukemia. Sanders spent the next few months in and out of the hospital, still making public appearances when he was able. He knew that his end was coming soon, and he implored the franchises to remain open on that day when it finally came. The people must not be deprived of chicken.
Can I make a Michael joke real quick?
Have at it.
What's so cute about leukemia?
Wrecked him, damn near killed him.
Was leukemia bullshit?
It was not. I'm not even that low. I say after having just made like a bombing joke.
I had to ask. I had to ask. I had to put it out there.
All right. Well, I
Can
appreciate
you guys eat
you.
fried chicken on the day I die?
I definitely can do that.
Perfect.
I was planning on eating you the day you died,
That's
but
coming
you know,
up.
so-
Everybody mark your calendars.
That's it. Speaking of which, I was going to save this, but I need to
Oh,
remind
no.
myself. No, it's not that bad.
Stop.
No, has anyone watched the new Netflix, like it hasn't been out for a couple of years, the Sabrina show
Yes.
on
I've
Netflix?
watched
No.
season 1, and
Okay.
season 1 was delightful.
I
and
feel
then
like-
season 2 really fell apart. for
I
me.
feel like it is what Harry Potter is in the minds of Christian parents.
You are absolutely
The second I watched that, like once the
Ooh.
orgies started happening, I was like, this is what people told their kids like Harry Potter was about, was people doing magic, light as a feather, stiff as a board, and then just having orgies upstairs. It's like, yeah, this
Reminds me
is
of
it.
the meme format right now, or of like, I'm gonna tell my kids this was, and then you put a picture. So like, just put the Sabrina cast and just be like, I'm gonna tell my grandkids this is Harry Potter.
Yep. It's reasonable, but the second I saw that, I was like, this is exactly what everyone was terrified of.
Also, compliments to Shane for joining us in the 21st century, because when I first met Shane, he never was going to have internet, and he was never going to use a streaming service, and now we can have these conversations.
To your credit, and to someone else's credit as well, I did not join the 21st
You were
century.
thrust into
I was brought by attrition, and I just am along for the ride.
The
Like
shame
Grandpa on a roller coaster, I'm just sitting in the back shitting myself and hoping it's going to be over soon.
The Shane that I knew was very much a Colonel Sanders of internet. Internet.
Why am I spending money for something that I can steal from Starbucks?
You got me talking chicken politics.
Listen, I can masturbate in public as well as anybody. My lineage has proven this out.
It is my destiny.
The stick of destiny, as it were. Okay. This is never... I'm sorry, I forgot about your affiliations, Michael. Forgive me.
Huh? Hello? Huh? Where am I?
I'm still trying to figure that out myself. So the colonel had become interested in religion in his later years, as we have learned, and one day he asked a reverend whether God could help cure him of his addiction to foul language. What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them, the reverend quoted from the Bible in reply. So the colonel prayed. He said that he then felt as though a great weight was lifted from his shoulders. His troubles with profanity were finally over. That's not to say that he stopped his constant cursing, far from it. But from then on, he would say a silent prayer for forgiveness immediately following the vulgarities, and that seemed to do the trick.
Just like that his life arc is like, I can't stop saying fuck.
It's a truth big. Indeed.
Terrific.
Bruh.
Harland Sanders shuffled loose of the mortal coil on the... I don't have a segue for this bit, so we're just going to go right into it.
Press F.
He passed on at the 16th of December in 1980 at the age of 90. His casket was put on display in the rotunda of the Kentucky State Capitol building, where mourners and dignitaries paid their respects. The governor of Kentucky, one John Y. Brown, Jr., who you will remember is one of the people who manipulated the colonel into selling the franchise,
shipped his casket to Japan, where they threw him in the same river.
That would be fantastic.
That joke don't float.
Oh!
We all float.
Boo.
Indeed. So, John Y. Brown, who fucked the colonel quite literally, gave the eulogy. Go figure. Sanders' daughter Margaret went on to write an account of her upbringing titled, and I shit you not, The Colonel's Secret, 11 Herbs and a Spicy Daughter.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Not kidding. That's why I said I'm a little dubious about Margaret's sanity. In it, she explained how she was her father's favorite child, never one to self-aggrandize, and she credited herself for some of the pivotal innovations that led to the success of Kentucky Fried Chicken. It also included a curious quantity of details about her father's sex life, including an anecdote from the night of her own conception. But other Sanders relatives are quick to point out that Margaret's version of events is not universally agreed upon. Go figure.
There was a lot of people in that room.
Obviously. I mean, you have to have onlookers. That's the only way pagan rites are effective.
Give her the secret sauce.
Wrong restaurant, my friend. Where's my herb dusting?
9 spices. 10 spices.
11 spices more.
Is he counting strokes? Or?
That's it.
Wait for the batter, honey. It's coming. And then we're going to boil you clean.
Are you ready for my sweetness?
Butter my biscuits, baby. I'm about to give you the gravy.
There it is.
And
There
it's
we go.
crackling gravy. Baby gravy, in fact.
Face, neck, and chest.
Let me straighten my string tie before I go back out to meet with your family. Where have you put my cane? And that's where Raising Cane's was founded.
It makes all the sense.
This goes all the way to the top.
Oh,
Come right back around. This is called improv, kids. Learn the lesson. So, furthering discussions of the Colonel's bedroom forays, Kentucky Fried Chicken sexualized Sanders with the 2017 publication of Tender Wings of Desire, a romance novel featuring Harland as the love interest. Despite the quirky cover, which we will be featuring on Instagram this week because it is disgusting. It is him in the signature suit with the sleeves torn off so that his biceps are showing.
Are they pathetic
Still
biceps
might
or
be.
nice
No,
biceps?
they're muscled. He's very well toned.
woo.
He made a lot of chicken.
Mm,
And he milked a lot of ladies.
that he did.
A lot
Yes.
of gravy.
Lady
Ooh-wee.
gravy.
Gross.
So, Tender Wings of Desire is not a satire, nor fast food fan fiction, or subversive mascot erotica by Chuck Tingle. It was published by KFC as a promotional stunt for Mother's Day 2017, a date that shall live in infamy. According to KFC's official statement on the matter, Mother's Day is KFC's best-selling day of the year. So this year, KFC is giving moms the ultimate gift with its first romance novella, Tender Wings of Desire, featuring Harland Sanders as the love interest.
Is that bullshit that it was the...
Sadly, no.
Busy...
No, they were very big on Mother's Day, even back to the bucket days, because it was food that you could take to go on a picnic, so Mom didn't have to do any cooking or cleanup. So I meant it when I said for the sign earlier. I'm not kidding. That was one of their big, selling phrases for advertising. But the idea was you'd pick up $20 worth of fried chicken and this dubious 96-page book, plop both down in front of your dam, or mother of your unfortunate children, and flee to enable her to finally get what she wants this year. A family meal she don't have to cook, and some alone time with a captivating novella. Per the poets of the KFC Public Relations Department.
Bullshit.
Not bullshit. For more finger-licking fun outside of the bedroom, I'm including the link that fully details the inglorious bits of this fan fiction in the show notes, so you can see this tale for yourself.
When are we reading that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll read that.
It's 96 pages. I think we can get through it.
That's not that bad.
No.
Yep. It'll
And John
probably
gets
be
to play the
appropriately spelled for once. So
Only because I just finished watching episode 2 of The Sopranos. Just when I thought that I'm out, they pull me back in.
that's Godfather Part 3, my friend.
Yeah, it's a character in the show. Pretending
I've
to
seen
be
The
De Niro.
Sopranos. I know the joke. I'm just giving you shit.
Do you know Tony?
Okay, you're fired.
Is that a show?
What's that?
It
Soprano,
is
I thought that was
it's
a
just
singing
yeah, it's just part of the choir.
Oh, okay,
John's
okay, cool.
confused. See, John is a countertenor, as we've learned from years of performing
I
music.
can't
publicly.
count anything. So
Can you say that?
I can. He's been cucked by God. So, Kentucky Fried Chicken Today, officially shortened to KFC in 1991, is a subsidiary of Yum Brands, as Courtney is so fond of telling us, and their headquarters was moved back to Kentucky years ago. As of this writing, KFC is the largest restaurant chain in the world, with about 19,000 locations, selling ambiguously seasoned dinosaur descendants to every human on every continent, except Antarctica.
Because fuck them.
Yes. That's penguin, fried penguin.
Oh,
Yes.
penguins are cute.
PFP.
Probably delicious too.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's,
honestly,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's why they're endangered. Everybody wants a little penguin in their mouth. Independent laboratory testing has suggested the only seasonings in modern KFC are salt, pepper, sugar, and, as Uncle Roger would tell us, the king of flavor, MSG.
Oh my god, we were talking about MSG before you guys got here.
Naturally.
I'm probably gonna do a whole episode on it.
Despite the
Ooh.
corporate claims to the contrary, they have tested it, and it's got MSG in it. So although Sanders had always insisted on frying with vegetable oil for the best flavor, in the 1990s the company switched to a cheaper palm and soybean oil recipe. Crass caricatures of the Colonel appear on television promoting crass caricatures of his food, and the current corporatized biography of Colonel Sanders' life has been watered down more than a Bowling Green gravy. One can only imagine how Harland Sanders would respond to the continued use of his name and likeness in the modern manifestation of his restaurants. He'd probably have a thing or two to say about supernatural deities, bodily excretions, procreation, and the temperament and marital status of the executive parents. He would probably make every attempt to legally bar the company from putting his face on buildings, buckets, and boxes containing the imposter products, and, failing all else, he probably would have challenged those slick, silk-suited sons of bitches to some terrific fisticuffs, to settle the matter of who owns his body and soul, once and for all. And that, my friends and listeners, is the tale of Colonel Harland Sanders.
What a fucking journey.
Yeah.
Say, a lot of experiences that we would not have had otherwise, I know.
Kind of sad to see it done.
Yeah, sure.
Same.
Well, I
Well-
mean, I'm sure I can find something else interesting. I'll go read Margaret's book about how she was the greatest and probably the best layer Dad ever had.
She was a
Daddy
saucy
that
daughter.
was totally my daddy.
He licked me like his mama's wallpaper paste.
Oh.
Ugh.
Ooh.
All right, Goofy.
Thanks for being included here. Thanks for.
He was
I'm
just trying not to
contributing.
talk. Yeah, didn't want to ruin our blissful recording
How many
experience.
did we
here.
snag of those lies?
I think you got 2 at the least.
Man,
3.
The first instance of litigation over the slander, was that a lie?
No, the Bowling Green folks really did get their balls in an uproar over him saying their gravy was god awful. All right, I think there's 3 because and one of them technically was kind of like the both of you together because, like I said, that whole paragraph is kind of a
tag
full
team.
lie. So here we go.
I'll take partial credit.
we Eiffel Towered it.
I'm running down. So, lie number 1 was just guzzling the goddamn gravy as John snagged. Because no one wants to do that.
Glug glug.
Oh, no.
3,000.
Oh. You can run, but you can't hide, bitch. The number 2 lie was that he described the extra crispy as a damn dough ball spot welded onto some chicken.
Oh, I wanted to call it, but I felt like you'd berated me already during the episode of just being trigger happy.
Hey, it's all fair, John. I can tell you that it's a false trail, and you believed me.
Ah,
So
Yeah, I know. You're the only good person on this show with lies. Sorry. I mean,
wow. I think we're going to need to have an arbitrator in here for a little discussion between the two of you later.
Courtney's the best cook.
well, that goes without saying.
Hey, we weren't
Shane's-
talking about the forum in which one cooks, because I think I can give her a run for her money.
Ooh-wee.
I got some fry oil that I'm percolating down below my nithers right now.
He's talking about cum.
I don't cook cum. I just serve it.
He sends it.
It's lukewarm.
For the listeners, Shane made a Spider-Man motion.
I
with
did the
his hands.
Sanders egg toss is what I did. That's okay. So that was a lie
And Courtney
number
looks
2.
traumatized for life now, so that's great.
Be free, little birds. Be free. This one you may or may not call me cheap for, but I wanted to see who was really paying attention. So when I said that the Colonel's Lady was founded in Louisville, where their headquarters was, it's not in Louisville. It's Shelbyville, Kentucky, my friends. You should have been paying attention last time.
The only thing I want to say is I know people that are from Kentucky and they say it's Louisville.
It is Louisville.
I don't give a flying fuck what those
But
backwoods
also,
would
But I
call it.
also don't care how people say it, so yeah.
well, you got your only woohoo on the episode.
Oh, we can't say that word anymore? I
don't
thought it
know
was
what
your
you said,
favorite
but
word,
I'm
John.
ready to censor it.
I'm trying to be a better man.
Try harder.
You do this podcast. That's a step backwards.
And backwoods, as we were just remarking.
But I
so.
was going to agree with majority of what Shane was saying, that people from Kentucky, my father included, aren't really they don't really respect the English language.
Well, we already
So-
established from like a couple episodes ago that they aren't like Alabama Roll Tide levels, but they are first cousins.
Kissing
So,
cousins.
yes, yeah. Pretty close, but not Roll Tide.
My family's from West Virginia predominantly, so I don't respect people from Kentucky. We've
you're only
established this.
connected by country roads, so
I mean, the only good people that came out of Kentucky are Mr. James E. Cornett and Muhammad Ali. So,
shit, I didn't know
second
he was from
most
Kentucky.
recognizable athlete in the world. I'm just kidding. Hunter Thompson is also from Kentucky.
Really?
So,
Huh.
yep.
This is
Anywho.
where you put in the more you know.
The
I
weird-
love the state of Kentucky. I just, fuck me. I pulled a Michael. I said Louisville, not Louisville.
No, you got to pretty
Louisville
much say it like
Redenbachers
you're
over here.
incredibly drunk. Just,
Still
Louisville.
don't give a fuck.
I think what Shane's trying to get at is that he's really sorry that he mispronounced one word in the course of these 4.5 hours of presenting.
I'm a stickler for that ever since someone told me that Versailles, spelled, French way,
Is
so
Versace?
Versailles is pronounced
Versailles.
Versailles.
In Kentucky,
And ever since
yes.
that, I can't. I'm a stickler for however the fuck they pronounce their
This
shit.
is the
'cause
hill
it's
you're
a-
gonna die on, Michael.
Yes.
You are
That is a
really
hill I will die on.
when you're finally ready for it, you are going to love Dune.
Well, listen, Michael, you're a teetotaler, and I've always said that about you. So obviously, I respect the way that people pronounce things. So, anywho, to advertise his restaurant, Harland returned to paint and signs. Obviously, that is not true, and so nothing on the sign was true.
Right.
Subsequently, you can keep your crispy in the bucket, it belongs in the trash. One of my better crafted lines, I will admit.
True.
So Hobline did not sue him for having created that sign, obviously, because there wasn't a sign to sue him over, and so there was no litigation there. So regardless of his skill as a barrister, didn't really matter in that instance. So all of that was one paragraph, and I considered that a single lie. So that is number 4. Number 5 is the sign that hung in the restaurant. Actually, he did not have anything in the restaurant saying that you could not smoke there. That was the sign that was in his living room, and he and Claudia were not very fun. But the sign does exist. There's people that will smoke in our home. People that like us will not smoke in our home. People that will smoke in our home we do not like. That was the sign. Huh. That is number 5 on the list of lies. Number 6 was that he did not countersue Hubline for their frivolous litigation because they had only sued him once up to that point. And so that was kind of just slid in amidst the other things I know. And number 7 is the quote of saying, as he's muttering under his breath about the women who are signing autographs, I don't know when I've seen so many hogs with neither slop nor trough in sight. That is a Shane line.
I had the thought when you said that sounds like something Shane would say.
Indeed. His actual line was, I don't know what I've seen so many fat ones. So I figured I could trust that one up just a little bit better on my own.
A little more artistry on your end.
I try to be artisanal with my slander and slur, as we have seen here. And
oh, damn it!
And that's $20 in the swear jar this evening.
I'm just making your life easier, Michael. That's what I'm here for.
How would we make a digital swear jar?
Firstly, I'd have to give a damn if I offended somebody, and that's just not going to happen.
That's true.
And so there you are, folks. That is the 7 lies of Sanders for this evening's festivities.
7 lies. I just thought of the ring.
Your wife's not home yet, John. Give it a minute.
Not yet. Oh, no.
I meant the Ring doorbell. What were you talking about? The butthole again?
Yeah.
You cretin.
It's Creighton to you, thanks.
What crate are we putting it in? The crate and barrel?
Something I haven't gotten to ask.
Oh, no.
In almost a month. What's the next topic?
This is one you've been preparing for. You've been so excited for.
Because we're going to get high.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get high with you, but...
Oh, I know Courtney. You don't care about my episode, but you're excited.
What's funny is that I think Courtney got a little preview of what's to come because Jonah and Courtney were over on Monday. Well, Jonah and Courtney invited us to trivia at a bar that's a mile from here.
And we won.
Yeah, what's the name of your trivia team?
This week, because we were a bigger team, we were bigger Tanuki Energy, but we're usually just big Tanuki Energy.
Well, what was that old phrase that I used to see from John in our chats previously? It was, oh yes, thanks for the invite, I think.
Would you be interested in trivia in the future?
I mean, your lives are trivial, so I mean, I'm here, aren't I?
Fantastic.
I'm involved.
Well, the place closes pretty early because it's newer and because of...
So do I. So we have
generally you just shrug at the world right now. So we invited Jonah and Courtney over to have like a drink and just like shoot the shit. And I offered Courtney an edible when we got here.
It's always so tawdry with these stories.
Ooh-wee.
So I offered her an edible and she took one. And then I saw that Becky Becky does tiny bites on these edibles because she wants a little bit of a high, just enough to go to sleep, but not enough to be like fucked up.
I can only get so aroused. Please stop with the detail.
So I took the remainder of that edible. So not even a whole like full serving, if you will. And they stayed long enough to see what happens when the edible first kicks in to me. Because I could not, I sounded like Michael. And I think Courtney even said that I was going full Michael.
Damn.
Yeah, it's funny how chatty you got. And like, your eyes kind of glazed over, kind of like Michael's are at all times, and you were just kind of just like talking, and it was pretty entertaining.
Well, thank you.
Damn, I'm getting really excited here.
I found out firsthand. Sorry, there's cum in my throat. I found out firsthand what it's like to be Sam in the morning after a night out.
Oh.
Because when I woke up, I was like, oh, they probably think I am. If they didn't already, they probably definitely think I am the stupidest man to walk this earth.
That was really funny because you were very engaged in all the conversation. Like, you were just like, what is happening? And I was like, he's feeling it.
So what you're saying is that it might be worthwhile to take an edible and listen to Michael talk.
No, I think what she was saying is she's got a regret right now.
I got that reference.
You're gonna get to edit that clip too, so I hope you're ready.
Are you feeling it?
The air is so cold and numb.
You fell short this time.
Morning. Oh.
She let you come to her room.
I'll feel that.
You know,
wow.
things fell short this time.
Yikes.
Your smile fades in the summer, and this podcast is done, and I'm gonna leave when I wanna.
Bye.
I think I'll make it in time because it's in the drive now, but we should be hearing new outro music.
No, can we just take a moment to talk about the fact that your fuckboyisms are going to be the death of us, because we have been building like good sex. We have been trying to, erect some momentum here. We're creating new artwork that we're going to unveil, and all of this energy and effort's been going to 100 episodes.
Okay,
This motherfucker over here, breathing out of his mouth like it's a goddamn right and privilege, is over like, I'm going to put my new music on the day after I make it. Episode 93, right? It's like, do you not have a fucking clue how to roll shit out? Is this why our music never gets any traction? Because you're like, yeah, I released it Tuesday morning, 2 a.m. I was up and I was so excited, so it's out now. It's out. We got it, right? It's like, did you tell any of the radio stations? Yeah, I told them. Tuesday morning, 2 a.m. Is that when you told them? I was like, yeah, right when I released it. I told them it's out.
I resent this story.
I'm like,
because
what
that
the
has
fuck
never
are you
happened.
doing, man?
He just hates our new hit single, doesn't he?
I know. Courtney lent her beautiful voice.
Oh, well. Okay, yeah, she offered to sing, so good luck. Learn my parts. I hope you have a great
to
time
the
touring.
song.
Motherfuckers.
Outro.
Yeah, it's great.
Did you not? He didn't listen.
He didn't listen.
I
'cause
listened
he
to it.
doesn't
It was
read
shit. I
the
hated it. You
messages.
guys are... No, hold on. Let me give you my honest opinion. Don't quit your day jobs.
I don't have one. I'm dying.
Listen, I've been professionally telling Michael to shut the fuck up for a year now, and I'm featured in 2 seconds of that song. You're not featured at all, so now I think
Because
you're
I
just
know
trying
what
to
you
compensate
I
for
know
the
what
fact
you
that
value.
they can't talk on the show
I know what
and
you
try to
value.
blame me for this.
You don't value. You don't want me to talk.
No.
He doesn't want me to talk.
Exactly. So I'm trying to feature. It's a way of saying Courtney's here to stay.
I've had 4 straight episodes of me doing almost nothing but talking. Don't start cucking me now.
He's like, finally, we're getting where we need to be.
I am the Jim Jones of this podcast, which means everything is here to serve me, and the second you step out of line, I'm going to kill us. So
Serve the Kool-Aid now, or we want to wait on
it's
that?
not
Flavor
Kool-Aid. It's Flavor Aid. And I have written permission from the last podcast on the left to correct everybody when they say that.
Yeah, I listened to that episode. I don't care.
Yeah, you created a monster over here.
Oof.
Well, no one wants to see Shane no more. They want Jim Jones, your chopped liver.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I said I'm quitting. Good luck.
Okay.
I
well,
hope
if
you
it
all
makes
enjoyed
you
the
feel better, and if you want to put a fucking
Yes,
thing
we're
in-
going to put the
Michael,
new
Mom and Dad
music
are
on for
fighting
episode
again.
on
100.
episode 100.
Oh,
Woo! Episode 100.
Yes, we're
Then we'll fucking have the new outro.
Jesus Christ. Like, milestones are important, lest the rest of our life be as banal as the, everyday existence. You can't have side topics over here, asshole. Furthermore, I have access to all of our sites, so I can just shut this shit down whenever I want to.
And this is the second time in over a year that we've all been in the same room, so it's fun to fall apart.
And it'll be the last one for at least 2 years now. So, episode 150 when I'm hosting by myself.
Oh, no.
This is the Disinformed Shane cast featuring Shane.
All
Hi,
Shane,
I'm
all the
Shane.
time.
And Michael. Hey, this is Michael.
He's
By
just
the
got a
way-
soundboard that's like,
I have that soundboard and it is sexy.
No, I'm actually just trying to improve the quality. So if I eliminate you entirely, I think the listenership's just going to
So
skyrocket.
here's the argument to be made that not to humble brag as a band with Shane here, but
Oh God, here we
we
go.
bought a new mixer for the band.
oh shit.
But here's
For John to play with.
no. Here's the real thing that we do. We use the mixer for the podcast, and that way Shane has a mute button for Michael that he can hit on, like that actually kills Mike's audio.
No, I have a mute button for Michael. It's called a throat shot.
He is within range.
That karate chop was dangerously close to taking off his fucking head.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
You nearly cut him in half pretty bad.
Oh man, why is it I'm always plagued by Michael C. Riley quotes? Like, why do I have to live in this world?
The thing is that I didn't. Oh, no, we're not going on a Michael.
Can't you just make? Why can't you just make quality jokes from time to time, John? That's all I'm asking.
I made the best joke of my career on this podcast not 20 minutes ago, and no one but Courtney appreciated it.
Oh, you were speaking?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Sorry,
It
I
was
tune you
acutely funny.
Thank you.
Well, John has no end to this bit, so he's just going to watch it die in front of him. And that's a fun thing. Thank you all for being here. As per usual, we sincerely appreciate your listenership, your presence here, and your support as we move on to Shanecast 2021.
Season
Gonna
3.
be grand times for everybody. But if you're enjoying your experience here, you can convey it to us in myriad ways. Firstly, Michael has got some instructions we can offer away from the tubes of you.
Oh shit.
He wasn't
This isn't-
expecting to have to talk.
Smash the like button? Is that what the kids do?
Nope.
I'm scared. I'm confused.
You can like and subscribe.
Oh yeah.
You can write a review to tell us how you feel
yes.
about us.
And spread the word, please.
You
Yes.
won't. You know,
Recommend it to a
balls.
friend. I guarantee you can.
Or your enemies. Find the person you hate the most. Send them a link to our podcast.
And say Michael's very insightful.
Amen.
Ramen.
Quote episode 40. Done. There you go.
And to quote episode 41, 43% Michael.
Who do we have beef with right now? Don't we have beef with
Greg
Wait.
Cohen.
Taco Bell, actually.
Taco Bell?
I read an
The
episode.
quesalupa is
Yeah.
going away.
I'm surprised that wasn't like the original first 30 minutes of this episode. They cut the quesalupa for all those who care.
I mean, I can still get a quesadilla.
Yeah. But you can't get the quesalupa.
Yeah, but I can
thing
get
is, this
cheese
is
in some
America.
form or fashion. I mean, anything that leaves Taco Bell,
That is
other
the
than the
thing,
potato
John.
taco, is still going to be around in some form or fashion.
So we're not going to die on this hill for Taco
No,
Bell.
only potatoes.
Okay. Well, we won one battle, so I mean, I feel like we can't get too. You, know,
Won the battle, lost the war.
you have a very flawed view on this.
I have a very flawed.
You have a very fogwa.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very tasty.
yes.
Also, by the way, there's content whipping your way every single wonderful week, 3 days a week, or at least it was until y'all cut things short. But I have a little fun bit of nonsense that occurred this last Friday for all of you fans who thought you were going to be missing out on an After Dark. It didn't happen, and you all know why. But the folks in the room here haven't a foggy fucking clue as to what I'm talking about, and that's how I like it.
I'm scared and confused and
Yeah.
slightly aroused.
Story of your mother's life, I suppose. But, anywho, you can find us for fun fan fiction on the tubes of you on Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And, of course, we have After Dark Fun and Frivolity winging your way on Friday mornings, same bat time and channel. And, of course, new episodes of this saintly little podcast are winging your way Monday mornings. And that is at 5 o'clock in the Anti-Meridian on the Mountain Time, if you're so inclined. So, you can find us if you are still interested in hearing more fun, and there is a back catalog in the archives of so much stuff. So much. Nearly
So much.
100 episodes worth of topics. Well, ladies and germaphobes, thank you for being here. We are going to bid you a fond farewell and adieu, and I'm going to strangle Michael to death. And then I might move on to John.
And my tiny nipples went to France.
For the Disinformed podcast this week, I'm Shane.
I'm John.
I'm Michael.
I'm Courtney.
Thank you all for being here, and as per usual, So long, and good Sanders.